Good morning, everyone. It's 9:10 p.m. on Maui, Wednesday evening. So if I get the days confused making this video, my apologies, but we need to get going. Go to the new positions page to see the recommended asset allocation per position, to see the limit orders and the sell stops. We do not have time to go through that if we're going to go over the sell orders, so let's get into it. I have 7 total long positions, 6 new, 1 add signal. The higher quality ones are FAF, KELYA, NVCR, and MCRI. These are all CanSlim Perfect Speculator quality names above $20. MCRI is the only CanSlim and Perfect Speculator name, so this is a good one. I want to get long at the high of the day. First cut loss is right here, and I'm going to use the second cut loss here because this stupid stock has shaken me out a few times. Got knocked out a half when it went below this low. Then I moved another half to today, or whatever, this low a day, and I got knocked out a half today. So this is basically an add slash buyback signal. So MCRI, very nice technical pattern, but it is not reliable. I would have thought right after I added to it here that it would have exploded higher, but it hasn't been the case. So we'll see if it can move higher immediately here. If this level fails before this one comes into play, I'll be moving half of my sell stops up. If it loses the max green bop and does it on heavier volume, I'll be moving all of my sell stops up. But MCRI, higher quality long signal. FAF was in my CanSlim quality scan. Pocket pivot point signal, above average heavier volume. BOP has been increasing steadily for the past 2 weeks. Bullish candle over candle price bar. So very good looking pattern. FAF, want to get long at the high of the day. First cut loss right here at the green BOP lows. And my final cut loss is going to be down here at the ultimate lows, since I cannot get a full position. Normally would like to put $8,000 in this stock. I can only put, I have written down here, anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 per all of these long signals. And in fact, $2,000 will be the max I put in for V-Ray. MFIN and ASPU will only get $3,000, but the rest of these higher quality signals, they'll get anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000, $1 commissions each. That's why I can take all 7 trades. It's well within reason for me. If you pay too much for commissions, if you don't have large capital base to work with, please just choose something like 1 FAF or maybe KELYA, candle over candle hammer price bar. Strong volume compared to the pullback volume. BOP actually exploded quite nicely from the session before. Want to get long at the high of the day. First cut loss level right here. Final cut loss level for now. You can even put it all the way down here to give it some room to work. I always recommend for you new guys, especially if you're not capitalized correctly and you pay too much in commissions, you just get one stop. That very first stop I recommend. So for the KELY, it would be right there. For FAF, it would be right here. For MCRI, it would be right below 43.79, and then for NVCR it would be this low right here. That's going to be your first cut loss level. For right now, my final cut loss level is this early December low. Want to get long NVCR using the high of the day, 2105. This is a higher quality perfect speculator scan. You can see the longer term price pattern forming the gap up. It's been very strong. It's spent a lot of time consolidating. If it does turn and coil higher, I'm expecting another measure move, and that goes for all these stocks. If they move higher, I expect a measure move similar to all or part of the previous uptrend. Always have, always will. If you ever want to know how far I think a stock should rise, it's however far the previous uptrend moved. So those are the higher quality names. More speculative names, VRAY. You can see a nice longer term chart pattern near all-time highs. So I obviously like that one. ASPU, very nice longer term chart pattern going back to the beginning of the year. Nowhere near its all-time high, so it's obviously not on the high of the list as something like VRA or NVCR, which are near all-time highs. And then MFIN, very speculative name, extremely extended from the 50, 200, and extended from the 20-day moving average. But IO was kind of one that didn't give a damn and kind of ran, and it did it without me. I had a new long, that's the arrow, had a new long position the day before it moved and ran. So I'm kind of looking at MFIN like that. If it breaks out, it's going to run, so might as well try to get in now. Cut loss level that I recommend is right here on MFIN. However, you might want to have one here and here. And if you're a new trader, please do not take this stock long. This is the riskiest one of them all. If any of them are going to fail, it's going to be that one. A higher quality speculative side, ASPU, at least the 50-day moving average is right there. And after a nice uptrend, you basically have cup with high handle pattern to go along with the coiling action in the chart. And V-Ray, go check out the sales and earnings growth in the most recent quarter in V-Ray. This might be a hidden gem out there. Remember, like I said, it's in the perfect speculator scan near all-time high. I'm always going to like those long positions. Once again, go to the new positions page, look at the recommended asset allocation, read the initial commentary leading into the long positions, look at the limits, look at the stops, and if you're a new trader, only use the very first stop and only take the safe trades: FAF, MCRI, KELYA, and NVCR. Now, going over the sell signals, full sell signals, SQQQ. This one's as easy as it gets. New 52-week low, full sell signal. But with all of these hedges, I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing the past month. Half, half, half. So if I have 100 shares, I now have 50. Breaks today's low a day. Tomorrow, I'll have 25. And then the next day, 13, 7, 4, 2, 1, 0. And that's how it's going to go for any hedge signal I take in this ramping market without a pullback. Because like I keep saying, by the time we pull back, it's going to probably be vicious, fast, and hard. So MIDZ, new 52-week low, that's a full sell signal. But once again, I'm doing my half, 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 half until I have none stuff. SDOW, also a fail, hitting new lows. So those are pretty clear cut. Now, onto the full sell signals stock side. FLL, you can see the white arrow. On most of these chart patterns, that means the day before is the signal date. The white arrow is the day I enter. FLL is closing below the signal date's low of day on heavier volume while losing green BOP. That is a 100% full sell signal. No questions asked about that one. SMSI, this one's a little bit trickier, but you can see the white arrow as a new long signal. That means 1226 was my first low a day, my first sell stop level. That obviously cut it intraday today, but I had other sell stops here, and I think here, and then right here. I'm removing this one, and placing a one and only final sell stop on SMSI below today's low a day 250. So SMSI, by closing below the signal date's low a day on above average volume, even with the max green BOP, it's a 100% sell signal. The shares that I have left, the 250 level, is going to be my sell stop. Now, on here, 1213, where my initial second sell stop was, my low was 248, so I'm going to keep it at 248 for the entire position. So I'm going to give it 1 extra cent to try to hold this key support area, and if it doesn't, I'll be all out of SMSI. FLL was similar too. I still had my stops that I have here and here, and I think even right here it held this low. 345, yes it did. So same exact situation as FLL. I still, coming in after this full sell signal, have 3 stops. I'm removing this stop, I'm removing this stop. I now have one final stop at this 345 level. FLL crosses below 345 today, for you guys watching it, I will be completely out, just like on SMSI. And then the other final full sell signal, MLVF. MLVF is closing below the 200-day moving average, higher volume or not. If we go long a stock above the 200-day moving average, MLVF was a long back here in February. If we go long a stock above the 200-day moving average, we, Big Wave Trading, never holds a stock when it closes below the 200-day moving average. So MLVF closing below the 200-day moving average, that's a 100% full sell signal. Now getting to the partial sells, PLNT is closing below its 50-day moving average once again, so it is another 50% end-of-day sell signal. It was a 50% sell signal the session before. I moved half of my sell stops to below 32.87. It was hit intraday on Wednesday. What I have left, half gets moved up to below 32.73. It hits 32.72. I'll be knocked out of another half of PLNT for around a 25% gain. Then there's STE. This stock is getting closer and closer to rolling over. It closes below this low a day here with lower or heavier volume. It is a 100% full sell signal, but as it is, it's just another 50% sell signal. I have already been knocked out of all of my STE. I moved my final sell stop on this day to this day's low a day. I got knocked out intraday, but on an end of day basis, it never had a confirmation close below the 50-day moving average and above average volume. This, a lot of time has passed, so this is just a close below the 50-day moving average. Another close below the 50-day moving average on Thursday on above average volume, below 86.26. That will be a 100% sell signal for STE. GDEN, clear cut 50% sell signal, closing below the 50-day moving average on above average volume. Still much higher than where we went long, so it's only a 50% sell signal, 29% gain. And then FND, closing below the 20-day moving average on above average volume. I moved up one of my 4 or 5 trailing sell stops to right below here, 45.93, or excuse me, right here below 45.53. It moved below 45.53 intraday on Wednesday, so I was knocked out of a fifth of FND, but on the 4 positions that I have remaining, half of my total shares now go to right below 44.10. So if FND trades at 44.09, on Thursday, I will be knocked out of half of my remaining FND shares. And then 2 stocks triggered 20% profit taking overbought RSI sell signals. CCS has just been going straight up since going long. So even though it's kind of a fresh breakout, such a big outlier one-day move for CCS with the RSI going above 80 that it's definitely a 20% sell signal locking in. 20% there, right around 11% gain. And then NEPT, since we've gone long, this is actually the signal date. The stock is now up 31%. Following today's move, I am not only selling 20% at the market on Thursday, this morning, as you watch this video, but I'm also moving one of my trailing stops to below the 1-3 low a day. So I'll have one stop here, one stop here, one stop here, I believe. I have one stop here, I have one stop here, I have one stop here, and I have one stop here. And that's how I operate, folks. I'm insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 total stops on NEPT. But remember, if this thing closes below the 20-day moving average on heavier volume, all the stop gets moved up. It closes below this low here on above average volume. I'm removing all those extra ones, and then there's just one final stop. I'm always moving and adjusting my stops. I can go from having 10 trailing stops in a stock like VRS, and following yesterday's session, I still had 10 trailing stops. Now, after this session here, I'm not only moving a stop up to here and now have 11, but if this level goes, I'll be moving all of my stops. And let's say I had 5 shares only in this stock with 10 stops. Now that there's red BOP on this day, half of my remaining shares on VRS goes to this low a day. However, if I had 5 shares remaining, 3 would go here, 1 would go here, and maybe 1 right here. So 1, 2, 3 here. So let's say I had 5 trailing sell stops, but had to move 3 to here, which left me only 2 out of the 4 remaining sell stops. Then we're just using the most recent support levels like here, here, or here. It's a constant flowing, ever evolving system. That's how proper stop management works. There are hard rules, but it takes a long time to learn how to adjust stops the way I do. I just recommend to make sure you're always moving stops up. For instance, just a quick lesson on WUBA. When I initially went long here, I had one stop here, one stop here. I then got a great ad signal, but I kept one stop here, one stop here. When the stock made that move right there, I added a third stop. One stop here, one stop here, one stop here. Now with the stock up another day, I now have added another stop. 1 stop here, 2 stops here, 3 stops here, 4 stops here. If it breaks out above this high right here, I'll then have 5 stops. 1 stop here, 2 stops there, 3rd stop, 4th stop, 5 stops. And then as it reverses or does whatever it does, I'll then move stops up. Like on SG, nope. Oh God, I can't even think of it. That's unbelievable. USG? No. USEG. There you go, brain. So whenever a day like this day happens, boom. Even though I'm long from here and it's still in an uptrend, half of my stops go right here. And that's how tight it gets. It's because of the way the reversal works. Now, once it breaks out and moves higher, then we'll start splitting up and trailing the stops higher again. But for now, that's the way it is. The stop management process never sleeps. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the chat room. Aloha.